So let us start with the chi-square statistics. Till now we have learned regarding the z-test, t-test for the mean population and all these type of things. And if we talk about the chi-square test, then here we will come to know that this is one of the tests which is known as a non-parametric test. Now what is the meaning of parametric or non-parametric test? Non-parametric test means here we are not requiring any of the assumptions which is required in the test we have learned till now regarding the population or the sample. Okay? Here what we are talking about is, here we are talking about something which is happening. Just we are looking for conclusion of the sum of the things that they are related to each other, are they depending upon each other or they are independent of each other. So here this particular test, the chi-square test, is one of the non-parametric tests in our course which do not require any assumption regarding the population parameter. Correct? So this is one of the thing that it is a non-parametric test. Now regarding the chi-square test, there are two type of tests that falls under the category of chi-square. One of them is chi-square test for goodness of fit, and the second one is chi-square test for independence. So we are going to learn in our course there is only one, which is test for independence, means we are looking for the two things are independent or they are depending upon each other. Okay? And let's see how to explore it, which type of data is required for that. The first thing is in chi-square test, whenever we are doing, we do not have the numerical scores. Till now we have seen the mean is given, the standard deviation is given, and we are looking for something is matching from the population or not. But here it is different because here we are not going to talk regarding the mean or standard deviation like type of things, but we are talking about the frequencies. Frequency means how much time a particular thing is happening. Correct? So we are talking about the frequencies rather than numerical score. Now here I'm just giving you introduction about the goodness of it. Then I will skip to the all PPTs and we will go to the independence of this. What goodness of it is? Goodness of it is used to find out how close are the sample result to the expected result. Expected result means what we are expecting, and the sample result means which actually are coming. For example, all of us are expecting 90 to 100% marks whenever we are going for some test. Correct? It is very less than we are expecting. The 50% should be there. We are expecting that we have prepared well, so a student is actually expecting that he or she should get 90 to 100% marks. But depending upon what the performance is, how much you have prepared, how much you have practiced, you are getting some different marks. Obviously it's not the same thing, but we are expecting should not always come. So what we are getting is actually the result. Correct? So if we are looking for how much the result is as per the expectation, so there we are looking for the goodness of fit. Here we have one more example. Then if we are tossing a coin, we can expect half of the time we can get head and half of the time we can get tails. It means if we are tossing 100 times, we can expect 50 head and 50 tails to appear because we know both of them have the same probability. But is it happening so? No, it is not true. Might be we can obtain 40, 50 head, 48 heads and 52 tails. Correct? And now if we are getting this, so can we find out that is it the same thing as we are talking about 50-50 type of thing? No? So whenever we are looking for how approximate your results are according to the prediction you made, then we call it as a goodness of fit test. Now what is test of independence? Test of independence means we are looking for the two variables independence or dependence upon each other. So what we are looking for, we are finding out, we are going to find out with the help of the data values provided that are the two variables of interest are independent of each other or they are depending upon each other. For example, is the starting salary of fresh graduate independent of the graduate's field of study? Correct? If we have an assumption in our mind, might be we can say that a BTech student earn more than MBA. We can say. But these are all the assumptions in our mind. We are not sure about what actually is happening in the real life situations. So a lot of surveys has been conducted for these type of things, and whatever the results are coming. Sometimes they are according to our belief what we thought are, but yet sometimes it's not so. We can say no, they are not as per our expectation. It is something different that we have expected. So it depends upon the values, the frequencies that we are going to work for to find out the test of independence, that either the two things depending or not. Similarly, if we talk about is student performance independent of the subject. So again, it depends upon. Sometimes it happens that the subject is easy, and without preparation, also if we are going, we are getting good marks. And sometimes rather than we are going for a lot of preparation, we are mentally prepared for each and everything, but yet our performance is not up to par. So here, if we want to find out is the student performance is depending upon the subject or is independent of that. So in order to check that, we have to go for the chi-square test of independence. So now let us skip the goodness of it because it is not even a course. We are going to skip all this. So what I can do is let us stop for the time being. We have just discussed with the starting one. Tomorrow we are going to start with the test of independence, and for that we need to create a contingency table. Correct? So let me just give a starting point, and then we have to go for the next lecture in order to go for the details of the chi-square test. If we have to start with, the first step is same as we have done earlier, that we have to set up the null and alternative hypothesis. Then we have to select a random sample and record the observed frequency for each cell of contingency table. Now here we have two things. As we are saying that we are looking for independence of test, we are going to find out a relation. Here also we have the frequencies that has been given to us, and we are going to find out the observed frequencies and the expected frequencies. So we have to compute the expected frequency with the help of a formula that EIJ, expected frequency in each cell, is equal to row total into column total divided by the total. We can write it on a sample size or the final total. So using this formula, you are going to find it out, and then we have to compute the test statistic. Here also we have the same terminologies that we have used because it is the same type of test, but it is non-parametric. So here if we to calculate the chi-square is given by, it is the double summation. I will discuss with you why we are having two types of summation. One is for row, one is for column. And what we are looking here is the difference of observed minus expected square divided by expected value. So this we have to calculate for each cell. Then we have to find out the total of chi-square, and then we have to determine whether the chi-square value is rejected or accepted. And as we have learned in the t-test, we have n minus 1 degree of freedom with n values. Here we are going to work with a table with n rows and m columns. So we are going to work with n minus 1 into m minus 1 degree of freedoms. So whenever we are looking for the t-test, as we have seen that we need the standard value at n minus 1 degree of freedom. Here whenever we are going for, we have to go for the chi-square standard value at n minus 1, m minus 1. Here you can see when we will go for that, it will be separated by comma to showcase that this is the degree of freedom for the chi-square test at the particular level of significance. So now we have the examples to be followed. So let's stop here and we'll continue in the next lecture.